Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. So today I am filming a video which I haven't done in such a long time, but I kind of got the urge to do it yesterday, so I thought let's film one. But not only have I not filmed this type of video, I haven't actually done it like for myself in the longest of time. So we're going to be doing, as you've probably guessed by the title, a bit of a meal prep, batch cook kind of deal. So I've got 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches and 2 evening meals that I want to make today, and then they'll all get boxed up and either frozen or popped in the fridge for eating throughout the week. So this is for 2 people because obviously me and my boyfriend live together, so it'll be the both of us eating it. Portion wise, some stuff will last longer than others. It really depends on how big your portions are, but yeah, so each one will be different. But yeah, I've got all the ingredients from Aldi. I've just got home from there and popped everything away. So we might as well just crack on to the breakfasts. So the first ones that I'm going to make is basically a McMuffin Fakeaway kind of deal. And then we're also going to be doing some little mini egg cups. So let's crack on with our breakfasts. Okay guys, so these are the ingredients that you're going to need for the McMuffin Fakeaway. It is so simple to do. So the first thing is the breakfast pork patties. These ones are from Aldi, but I do believe that Tesco's and maybe Asda sell similar ones as well. Next we've got some cheesy singles, just any kind of plastic style cheese that you see in McDonald's. 4 eggs, and then finally some toasting muffins. I chose the wholemeal ones. Aldi do white ones as well, but I just decided to go for wholemeal just because I fancied it. Next, spraying my pan with some spray oil. This, I basically just put oil in one of those spray bottles from Amazon. Brilliant. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get one, but it's way better than that Fry Light. Next, we are putting the patties in, and then I just basically keep flipping them over until they look done. Popping the toasting muffins in the toaster, and then when they look done, by the way, the pan is so smoky. I don't know how, like every time I make these, the pan goes so smoky. I don't know how to stop it. So any advice, please? Next, we're cracking the eggs in. Made an absolute pig's ear of this second one. It was just constant shell just falling into the pan and then me burning myself. Once I thought I had it covered, another bit fell out. So yeah, but we got there eventually. So it doesn't really matter about the eggs merging, by the way, because we're just going to kind of whisk the yolk in a little bit as well. You could whisk this before putting it in. To be honest, I didn't think about that before doing it. Probably would have been easier if I'm honest, but never mind. So we're just going to kind of have it as a little bit of an omelette, or a loose omelette I guess, and then we'll just be cutting it up at the end into 4 pieces. Once the egg's done, you're just going to kind of want to chop it up into 4 sections, and then we're going to assemble our McMuffins. So obviously we've got the egg that goes on first, followed by the sausage patties. I mean, obviously do this in whatever order that you want to, but I then pop the cheese on top and then the lids, and then, I'm sorry, but McDonald's who? McDonald's who? They look glorious, and I'm not even gonna lie, after I filmed this I did have one and they were glorious. So but yeah, I ended up wrapping them up in tin foil, and they just go in the fridge just for whenever I need them. And then next we are moving on to our egg muffins and cupcakes. I don't know what to call them, but all you need for this is so easy, is 6 eggs, 4 slices of ham, and then some seasoning. Just use whatever you want. This is basically an all-purpose seasoning that I got from the African store, and then some baby spinach. So first up, I'm just going to be chopping up the ham into basically tiny little squares. So I'm going down lengthways and then turning it around, doing it the other way. So then you've got, like I say, those tiny little squares. And then next we're going to crack the eggs. I managed to do this a lot better than the last time, but we're cracking all 6 eggs into a measuring jug, adding the seasoning, giving it a bit of a stir, and then I'm just going to be adding in the ham and the spinach, and then giving it another stir. Basically with the spinach, I'm just kind of grabbing a handful and then just ripping it into small bits, giving it another mix, and then we're going to pour it into, these are basically silicone cupcake holders. My sister actually gave me these, but I think you can get them from like B&M or Lakeland, something like that. But we're just going to pour all the mixture into these ones, and then they're going to go in the oven. Once they've been in there for about 20 minutes, 25 give or take, just play it by ear, just have a look at them, see if they're solid. They should look a little bit like this, and yeah, they're ready to go, looking stunning. Okay, so that is the breakfast done. So they're pretty like easy grab and go kind of breakfast, which are the ones which I personally prefer. To be honest, I'm not a huge breakfast eater, but I feel like now that they're just in the fridge ready and waiting, I'm more likely to grab something on my way out to work or whatever I'm doing. Yeah, we're gonna move on to lunch. We I'm gonna be starting off by batch cooking some chicken. So for me, I'll cook a whole pack of chicken and then just dot it around different meals, and that's what I'm gonna be doing with this. So I'm gonna start by doing the chicken, which I've got a very specific routine on how I do this, and I'll show you and explain that. And then the lunches themselves have a similar kind of vibe. It's like a potato salad and then a chicken kind of salad bowl. So yeah, let's get cracking with that. So for the chicken, I'm gonna be using thighs today. Sometimes I use drumsticks, sometimes I use wings. Use whatever you want. Anyway, popping them all in a pan and then seasoning with thyme, garlic, some curry powder, and then one of those all-purpose seasonings that I used in the eggs. Put in however much you want. I don't really measure these, I just kind of wing it with that as well. Pop a lid on and then cook it for 20 minutes. Once that's done, then put them out onto a tray which is lined with foil, and then pop them in the oven for about 30 minutes, 15 minutes on each side. This is the chicken stock you're going to want to keep for a recipe later, or I'm going to want to keep anyway for a recipe later. So I'm just going to pop that in a bowl and put to one side, and then this is the chicken once it's done. Crispy deliciousness. And for our first lunch meal prep, we're going to need some potatoes, some bacon, I went for unsmoked, but do whatever you want, some cheese, some Greek style yogurt, again I went fat free. If you don't want to, don't do that. And the same with the mayonnaise, and then our seasoning is dill and garlic. We're just going to chop up the potatoes into kind of cube shapes and then pop them all in the pan and then boil for about 20 minutes until they're soft. Whilst they're doing that, I'm just going to cook the bacon. Now you want to make sure that this bacon is crispy, so keep it in there as long as you possibly can. Then we're just going to make up the kind of dressing, I want to say. So it's just some Greek yogurt, some mayonnaise, dill and garlic, and just mix that in. Have a little taste of it, see what you think of it. If it needs more mayo, add some of that. If it needs a little more Greek yogurt, do that. Then we are just chopping up the bacon and taking the potatoes out. I'm just actually rinsing these with cold water just to kind of stop the cooking process and just cool them down a little bit. And then we're going to be adding the bacon in with the potatoes and some cheese, and then our dressing, and give it a good mix around until it looks a little something like this. So granted, it doesn't look like much, but it's actually really, really tasty. Like, I really, really enjoy this. So yeah, definitely a go-to of mine as of recent. Lunch number 3, we are having bacon again. A little favourite of mine when it comes to lunches is having bacon. I don't know why, but we're also going to have some Greek yogurt, the leftover cheese from the last one, and a whole avocado, about 3/4 of a tin of sweet corn, and then our seasoning is garlic granules. So once again, we want this bacon crispy. Keep it in there for as long as possible. Then we're just gonna cut the avocado. I'm actually just putting this into cubes and then scooping it out with a spoon. So much easier than scooping it out and then cutting it into cubes. I don't know why, just it is for me. Then in a big bowl, we're gonna add the bacon, followed by the avocado, and then some sweet corn, the cheese, and then in that other corner we're just going to pop some Greek yogurt in there. That's going to be like our dressing, topped with some garlic granules, and then give it all a really good mix. Make sure that it's all kind of evenly distributed, and then eventually it should look something like this. So this is honestly so good. I had a little taste of it before I put it in the Tupperware box. Unreal. Okay, so the lunches are now done and in the fridge. They'll be great for just like dishing up and taking to work. So yeah, they're done, and we're moving on to the evening meals. So first of all, I'm gonna make it's like a sausage pie, sausage casserole pie thing, I don't know. And then also some jollof rice. Now jollof rice I hadn't even ever tried or made before until I met my boyfriend. And now it has honestly become a staple in our house. We always have some, pretty much. So I'm going to make some of that as the 2 evening meals. The first one doesn't take long at all. The jollof rice is the one that takes a little bit longer, so I'm going to do that one last, and just get the sausage pie out of the way. So let's get cracking. So ingredients for the sausage casserole is 45% reduced fat pork sausages that I got from Aldi, some potatoes, some frozen mixed vegetables, and some gravy granules. And then I'm going to say here rosemary and mixed herbs for seasoning, but I forgot to put the mixed herbs in, so just forget that. Anyway, so we're going to pop the sausages in the oven. Basically I'm just chopping the links out and then putting them in for about 25 minutes. Whilst they're doing that, I'm just going to peel the potatoes and then have them boiling again for maybe another 20-25 minutes, just basically until they're soft and ready to mash, when I'm then adding the rosemary and some milk and giving it a good mash up. Once the sausages are done, I'm just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces, and then we're going to make our gravy sauce. It's basically just gravy. So I'm just putting 3 teaspoons of the granules in, followed by around 500-600 mils of boiling water, giving that a stir. And then in our dish, we're just putting all of the sausages in, some mixed veg. Don't worry, these will cook in the oven, by the way, so you don't need to cook them beforehand. And then just pouring the gravy all the way on top. Kind of made a mistake with that because there was far too much and we nearly overflowed. But yeah, topping it with the mash and then popping it in the oven for about 20 minutes to finish off. And honestly, this is the ultimate comfort food. So good. So now we're moving on to the Nigerian jollof. We're going to use 12 of these salad tomatoes. We're going to use 2 of these habanero chilies, and then 1 of these sweet red peppers, and 1.5 red onions actually, some rice, and then also some frozen mixed vegetables as well. So we're going to start off by popping the rice into a large pan and giving it a good wash, just making sure that it's just not dirty anymore, basically. Pour in some boiling water, pop the lid on, and just leave that to steam for a while. We're not going to cook it just yet. Then we're just going to chop the tomatoes in half, pop them on a tray which has foil on, along with the chilies and the red pepper, and then that's going to go into the oven for quite a while. Then we're just chopping the red onion quite loosely because we're just going to be blending that, so it doesn't really matter. So when the skin is literally falling off, that's when you bring the tomatoes out. We're going to remove the skin and then just put the tomatoes into the blender along with the pepper and the chilies, and then of course the red onion as well, and we're just going to blend it into a paste. So sometimes you might have to boil this again just to get rid of any excess water, but we didn't have to this time. So for the other half of the red onion, I'm just chopping that into little rainbows and then frying that in a large pot. We're then going to add the tomato paste that we had from before and just leave that to fry for a little while. It does spit everywhere, but just bear with. It'll be fine. And then remember that chicken stock that we had from earlier, that's when we add that. And then it should look a little something like this. So this is actually just Nigerian stew. But adding the rice and the other things is what makes it jollof. So we've added our rice in, pop the lid back on, which has some foil on just to keep the flavours in, leave it for a little while, and then take the lid off, pop in your veg, give it a stir around, and then pop the lid on again just to try and get the rice to absorb as much of the flavours as possible. And this is what it should look like, nice and red, and just, oh, honestly, this is one of my favourite things to eat at the minute. Alright, so the jollof is now boxed up, ready to go in the fridge, and that is everything done for today. Boy, am I glad to not be cooking anymore. That was a lot, but the peace of mind of knowing that there's going to be something in the fridge for us to eat for the next, like, I don't even want to predict how many days, maybe it's 5 or 6 days. It's just, yeah, especially when we both work really long shifts, and yeah, it's just great to have a day where it's just all done and then you don't even need to think about it for the rest of the week. So yeah, but that does bring me to the end of this video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please give it a thumbs up, go hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. Baby, let me love you.